you are having a good morning or a good evening or a good afternoon wherever you are in the world. I know that you are from all different places, but thank you so much for being here. I am Bob the Canadian, and we are going to take some time this evening to learn a little bit of English. So just let me check in a moment to make sure everything is working properly. It usually is, but you know, sometimes. Or a good evening or a good afternoon. Sometimes we have some technical difficulties, and it looks like today everything is working really, really well. So I just want to say hi to a bunch of people in the chat. I can't say hi to everyone, but hello to Lolly and Ajnie. Hello to Hamoud. Thank you to Todd for being here. Hello to Renata. Hello to Moses. Bogdan, Pepagoma. I can't say all of your names, but thank you so much for being here. As you know, Todd has just posted a link to a form where you can ask questions about the English language, and I will be more than happy to answer them for you as best as I can. There are already, there are already a lot of questions lined up, so I'm gonna get started right away. And I might go a little quickly on these first ones. I just clicked the wrong button. Renzer says, hi Bob, I know 3 different ways to translate my name from Russian into English. Andre, Andrew. Please tell me which of these ones you think is more correct. So Andrew and Andre are very common names in Canadian English. You could go with either one of those. Andrew sounds very English, and Andre still sounds a little bit Russian. So you could decide which one you think would be best for you of those two. Ajnie has the next question. Ajnie, hello Ajnie. I hope everything is good. Everything is excellent. I'm 2 thumbs up right now. I need some help. I find it hard to differentiate between the A as in cat and the E as in men, the 2 vowels. Can I pronounce both as the same as in men? So if we just listen to how I say it, cat, men. So it is slightly different. It would be a little weird to say cat, like if I shorten that A too much. So I'll just give you both pronunciations, cat, and men. There you go. Hopefully, it is very close though. I could see why it's difficult to know how to use the 2 of them. I just want to shout out to Sean from Free 99 English, who's in the chat as well. Sean is also an English teacher, and sometimes he answers questions for people. So that's awesome. He also has his own YouTube channel. You should check it out. Second question from Ajnie. Bob, I added Hindi subtitles on last Tuesday's video. Did you like it? They have not shown up yet. Oh, I will check that out for sure. Thank you very much for doing that. I will check that out hopefully sometime tomorrow. I'll have a look at that, but I really appreciate that, Ajni. Nice work. Next question from Paul the Ukrainian. Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for your the great job you do. I really appreciate that. Here's my question. Could you tell me what does exactly mean if someone asks, who is your happy person? So I have not heard this phrase, but you could say this. The phrase I have heard though is, where is your happy place? So where is your happy place? That is a very common question in English, and basically the person asking it wants to know, where are you the happiest? Is it sitting, driving your car, maybe sitting in your living room? Maybe you have a special chair that you read books in, and that would be your happy place. So let me just keep moving along here. Eugene from Etobicoke says that he added subtitles to a video as well. Thank you, Eugene. And he recommends that I also use the YouTube copyright tool to look for other copies of my videos. Yes, that would be a good idea. Next question from Gaga. There are a lot of questions, by the way, so if it seems like I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. Gaga says, happy Saturday night with the learners, Bob. I have seen in some songs they use the word ain't. So ain't is real. It is very common to hear that. For me, say it in an English lesson because I'm used to using proper English. I ain't used to using improper English. It didn't even sound right when I used it there. Renata says, have you ever eaten breakfast for dinner? Yes, I have sometimes eaten breakfast for dinner. And what Renata is asking there is sometimes, and I'm sure people do this around the world, but sometimes the meal we normally eat for breakfast, which might be toast with jam or eggs, sometimes when we're in a hurry and we don't have a lot of time to make our evening meal or dinner, we will just make some eggs and have some eggs with toast. Or we'll have a bowl of cereal. So we call that having breakfast for dinner. It's a really quick and easy way to make breakfast. Renata has the next question as well. The plural of ox is oxen, that's correct. Can I say oxes too? Generally, no. Anymore because very few people own oxen. But if you were to use oxen for sure. If you said oxes, it's just not going to sound correct to people. Renata has the next question as well. It says there, Renata says, do you think the English language today is somehow influenced by William Shakespeare? I think so. I think a lot of the phrases we use have come from the play a long time ago. And we still study and use his plays today in our high school classes. And you can still go and see plays by William Shakespeare. Even though he has been dead for hundreds of years, his plays are very, very popular. So I do think his plays definitely influenced the English language. Just going to pause and say hi to everyone here. 285 people. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Bob the Canadian. This is a question and answer English lesson. Many people will participate in this lesson by asking questions via the form. There is a link from my friend Todd that will be in the chat. And this is a great lesson to improve your listening and your comprehension skills in English. So if you have a question, please ask. I will try to answer all of them. Next question is from Renata as well. Have you ever read any books by Nicholas Sparks? So I have not. I believe Nicholas Sparks wrote The Notebook. I think that's the... And I did see that movie. Let me just check here. Nicholas Sparks, The Notebook. They're usually love stories, by the way. Nicholas Sparks, I think so, yeah. So I have not read any books by Nicholas Sparks, but I have seen movies. Next question, Doreen from Taiwan. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Doreen. Could you explain the difference between, notice I corrected your question there. Could you explain the difference between fussy, finicky, and picky? When I want to explain someone when they're choosy with their food, which should I use? You can use all of them. You can say that someone is fussy. You could say they are finicky. Probably the most correct word to use with, if you're talking about an adult, would be picky. You would say, oh, he's really picky with his food. Let me see here. Let me clean up my questions. Moving right along. I was going to say hi to Easy and Fun English is here as well. I know you said hi to me earlier. So hello also to Easy and Fun English. And let's move on to the next question. Also from Doreen. Thank you, Doreen, for asking good questions. Doreen from Taiwan says, hi, Bob. Thanks for your teaching. You are very well. Is incorrect. So if you were having someone do work for you, you would say, how much will the work cost? That is perfect. That's exactly how you should ask that question. And then one more question from Doreen. Doreen, you said the last question was the last one, but here's another one. What is the difference between, notice I corrected your question there. What is the difference between you can make a snowball and you can make a snowball out of it? I mean, in what situation should I add out of it at the end of the sentence? So you don't need to, but it is a way of being precise about what the snowball is made out of. So a snowball, you could say, I can take some snow and I can make a snowball out of it. So the out of it simply means that you're making it out of the snow, and it's not required at all. So Mylene Moray, there is a link that you can use to ask questions. Todd posts it routinely in the chat, and that's how you would ask it. Let's see here. The next question is from Bruno Batista. Hi, Bob. I use Anki to study English. So Anki is a computer software that works like flashcards. It helps you learn vocabulary, but I'm taking too much time to review the cards, even knowing the meaning of the words, expressions, idioms. What can I do with this? That's a tough one. Like, you just need to spend time with it. And it's not, for some people, they can learn vocabulary really quickly. For other people like me, when I was learning French, it was really work to learn vocabulary. So I often was just memorizing and writing out words and using them in a sentence a few times to help me remember it. So let's see. Just want to check to make sure. Someone's asking whether the audio is working. I'm pretty sure it's working. It's working for me. So I'll just... that person is having audio problems of their own at their end. Let's see here. Henry, oh, so people are saying he is freezing on my end briefly. So I'm noticing my feed coming back seems to be working. So I hope everything's working for everyone. We'll find out in a moment. Let's see here. Todd says we had a minor freeze in the stream, so we should be good. Henry from Taiwan says, hi, Bob. Hi, Henry. Once in a while, when I study too much English, I dream of speaking English at night. I just had one last night. Has Teacher Bob ever had that when learning French? Thank you. Yes, I have had that, and it's actually a good thing. If you are starting to have dreams where you, if you're starting to have dreams where you are dreaming in English, that is a very, very good sign. So some people are saying audio problem. I hope the audio problem has gone away. It's where you, hopefully it, the audio is cutting off sometimes. So we'll have to see, because on my end, it says that everything is working properly. And hopefully it just kind of fixes itself after a while. Hopefully people are going to be able to hear me again. I'll just wait. I'll keep going, but I'll just keep my eye on the chat. Hopefully people can let me know if they are hearing me again or not. So it just kind of, we'll just keep going. Let's see here. Lolly says, let me see. Hi, Bob. To be in cahoots, does this expression always have a negative connotation? Thank you. When you're in cahoots with someone, it means that you're planning to do something with them. And we usually use this when people are doing something bad. It doesn't have to be when they're doing something bad, but it can be when someone is doing something that they shouldn't be doing. So Todd is saying he'll let me know if the audio fails really badly, but hopefully... Renata says, during my question, it cut off for a few seconds. So hopefully it's all going to be working better. Renata says, hey, Bob, what does it mean when something is booming? So when something is booming, it means that it is doing well. Probably the most common phrase would be to say business is booming. So if you run a business and you are selling a lot of things, then we would say that business is booming for you. So that's probably, it just means that things are going well. So just so everyone knows, I do have a lot of questions in the feed. Your question. Hopefully it's not too long. Karifa from Cali says, hi, Bob. How do you use follow up on that? So if I tell someone, hey, I want you to go out to the field and pick 20 buckets of flowers, then 10 minutes later, I might follow up on that by walking out to make sure that they are doing it. So that's what follow up on it would mean, to go and check on something you've asked someone to do to make sure that they are doing it. So next question is from Amira. Question is from Amira from Lodi says, hello, Bob. It's all downhill from here. Is it used in a positive or negative sense? Almost always in the negative, okay? If you say it's all downhill from here, it usually means that is very much used in the negative. So I'm just going to apologize, people, that it seems like the audio is cutting in and out for some of you. It's all downhill. Difficult for me to figure out what's happening because Todd and I both watch the video while we're doing it, and we're not seeing the same audio problems. So I wonder if there's just a problem with YouTube itself. We'll keep an eye on it, but I'm just going to keep going. We'll make the best of it. Hopefully you know what that phrase is. When you make the best of something, it means that even if you're having problems, you just keep moving on and you keep doing it. Let me see here. Next question. Zara. Oh, I have to paste this here. Zara the Iranian says, hello, teacher. How are you? And Jen. Winter is not boring for her. Could you please tell the difference between weather and climate? So weather is what happens every day. And climate is the general day-to-day weather in a certain area. So that would be the difference. And is Jen bored? No. Jen actually does a little bit of work through the winter as well. So she always has something to do every day. Let's see here. Daniel Mariah says, hey, Bob. Hi, Daniel. Good evening to you and Todd. What does the expression from the horse's mouth mean? Thanks a lot. So when you hear something from the horse's mouth, it means that you hear it from the actual person who did it. So let's say that I say to someone, my brother got in a car accident, and if they said, I don't believe you, I would say, look, I talked to my brother. I heard it from the horse's mouth. That would mean I heard it from the actual person who it happened to. So that's how you know that it is true. So going to go back to the next question. Now the questions are really piling up. So we'll see how far I get today through all the questions. Edgard says, hey, Bob, how do you pronounce the word occur and occurred? Well, that was an easy one. So occur and occurred. Hopefully you could hear both of those. That's how you would explain it. Renata has the next question. The question is, could you explain the word roster, please? So a roster is the list of people who are doing something, okay? So when you look at like a baseball team, you would say there are a certain number of players on the roster. That means they're on the list of people who are actually playing in the game. That's what the roster would be. Hamoud says, hi Hamoud. How can I practice my writing skills? What do you recommend? This is Hamoud from Saudi Arabia. One of the best things to do is just write a lot. But it's helpful if you can write and get some feedback. So maybe do some writing with an English pen pal if you can find one. That's what I highly recommend, that you find a person who can help you with your writing. That would be great. And maybe if you can take an English course, if you can go to one of your local cities and find an English course, that can be quite helpful as well. Let's see here. Next one. Mylene says, hi. Not a question, but a great conversation starter, Mylene. Very good. Let's see here. Daniel has the next question. Daniel says, next year I'm going to study abroad, but I need to choose between Canada and Ireland. Do you know which is better for students? I think both would be equally good for you. I think what's important is that you study in a place where the English accent that you learn will be the most helpful going forward. So if you know that you're learning English to do business with people from Ireland, I would learn English in Ireland. If you think if you are learning English because you're going to be talking after your studies with a lot of people from Canada, then I would study in Canada. That would be my recommendation for you. Let's see here. Next question. Sebastian Pinto says, can you give us daily exercises to be a translator? So I don't have a lot of time to do more than just make a few videos. So I don't have time to make lessons or to give people assignments each week, Sebastian. So at this point in time, I'm not going to be doing that. But that is a great idea. You yourself could do this, though. You could decide that you are going to read the English news every morning and you're going to translate it into your language. Or you could decide you're going to read the news in your language and translate it into English, and then compare it to English news from another website. Let's see here. Next question is from Anderson. Anderson Miranda. Hi, Bob. Hi. Says, how can I say you're welcome in another way, not using this phrase? So you can say you are welcome. So you're welcome, you are welcome, you are very welcome, or you're very welcome. You are most welcome, you are most welcome, or you're most welcome. All of those seem to work. Let's see. Zakia Tune says, hi, Bob. The audio is sometimes cutting off because of the bad network. It happened to me right now. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. I will just keep moving on, and I will have to check into the audio problem after the live stream is done. You will need to bear with me. That means that we'll just have to suffer through it together. Bogdan has the next question. The next question is it common to cheat on exams in Canada? I think it's common everywhere for people to try and cheat. When we give exams in Canada in our schools, we try very hard to make sure that students do not cheat. So is it common? I don't think it's common. Does it happen in Canada? Yes, I'm sure students cheat. I'm sure students always try to figure out ways to cheat on things. I think now I'm clicking too many buttons at once. Let me stop doing that. Let's move to the next question. Let's see here. Rosa says, hi, Bob. For example, someone says she looks young and another says yes, but she is. Not use old, not a symbolic way or a slang way to say this. Well, you could say she's getting on in years. That would mean that she's old, but in kind of a nicer way to say it. I'm going to pause for a second. Thank Rafael Diaz Vega for the super chat. Thank you, Rafael Diaz Vega. That is very, very kind of you. I do really appreciate it when people give me super chats. So thank you, and I hope you are having a good night. I think you are probably, I'm not sure exactly where, probably in this time zone. If you are, I hope you're having a good evening. Let me move on to the next question from Victor. Victor says, hello, Bob. I'm from Panama, Central America. I always see your videos, but a few days later. Now live. Thank you. You helped me a lot. Well, you are very welcome, Victor. I'm glad that you are able to watch my videos, but also it's cool that you can be here at this live lesson. Hopefully you are hearing everything okay. We are having a few small technical difficulties here and there, but overall, I think that things are working well. Anderson Miranda says, Bob, do you think audiobooks are a good way to improve any language? Yes, absolutely. In fact, my video last week about what books to read, I recommended that people read the book in English and then see the movie. And someone in the comments, it might have been you, Anderson, said, you forgot to mention that audiobooks are quite helpful. And I did. I felt bad. I should have mentioned that. Audiobooks are very, very helpful when you are learning a language. So definitely, great idea, Anderson. Get the audiobook and read it. So next question is from Manuel Cancino. Hi, Bob the Canadian. Is there a difference between deviate and divert? So when you are thinking a certain way and you have one idea, sometimes you deviate from that idea. So when you deviate, you move away from that idea. But when you divert something, you do it to that thing. So if there's a river flowing, you can block the river and divert or divert the flow. Notice there's two kind of ways to pronounce it. So you can divert the flow or divert the flow in another direction. So one, when you deviate, it's something that the person doing it does. They deviate from something. But when you divert something, you make it happen to something else. I would look both of those up though, because that may be a very narrow explanation of the two. Let's see here. Eugene from Etobicoke says, add oil. Is this a correct expression in English? Yeah, if your car is low on oil, it usually has a light that pops on that says add oil. And that would mean you should put some oil in your car, for sure. Let's see here. Next question. Ajne says, are you interested in joining a live meditation session on Facebook with a trainer? So am I interested? I would be, but it sounds silly. I don't have time. Meditation, I think, is a good thing to do in your day to relax your mind. But Ajne, I appreciate the offer, but I don't have time right now in my schedule. I'm really trying just to have enough time to go for a walk every day so that I stay healthy. But thank you for the invitation. Louis says, next one here, hey Todd, could you mention in the chat if there have been any audio problems for you in the last 5 minutes? Thank you. So Luis Luau says, hi Bob, could you please tell me the slight difference between job and occupation? So my job is that I am a teacher. If someone said, what do you do for a living? I would say my job is teaching. We don't often use the word occupation, but you could say that as well. My occupation is teacher. You more often see the word occupation when you're filling out a form. So it'll be, your first name, last name, address, occupation from there. So anyways, let me see here. Next question is from RJ the Aussie. RJ the Aussie says, I'm living in Toronto right now, and sometimes I have trouble catching what Canadians say. Do you know about any slang dictionary? Thanks, buddy. I don't know of one off the top of my head, RJ, but leave a question in the comments, and I will look for one tomorrow, and maybe I can find a link for you to one. So Todd says, there has not been any audio problems since I last said so. So hopefully things are working well from now on. I hope that it was just a small problem. I will say I can tell from the information in front of me that the connection isn't great at this end. So hopefully we get through the next half of this live stream and everything goes well. Let's see here. Hamoud, let's see here. Oh, how can I practice my writing skills without a teacher? Any suggestions? So I mentioned a pen pal, but the other thing you can do, Hamoud, to practice writing skills is to simply copy out English writing that you read every day. So if you read a news story on an English website, write it out by hand with pen and paper as well. So that way your brain is starting to learn a little bit. Mylene has the next question. Mylene, I'm glad that you got your question into the form, Mylene. What's the difference between tough, hard, and difficult? So it's tough for me to stay focused during a live stream when the technology isn't working. It's hard for me to stay focused. It's difficult for me to stay focused. So in that situation, they all mean the same thing. You could say that it is tough to drive in the snow. You could say it's hard to drive in the snow, and you could say it's difficult to drive in the snow, and they would all mean the same thing. Hey, I'm just going to pause briefly to thank all the 389 people that are watching right now. Thank you so much. If you are new here, click that red subscribe button down there, and you will get notified when I make new English video lessons. I'm Bob the Canadian, if you didn't know who I was, and give me a thumbs up. And for everyone out there, don't forget to come back and watch this video tomorrow. There will be English subtitles available for you. So pop back in tomorrow, and there might be small parts of the video that you want to rewatch. So make sure that you do that. Let's see. Let's go to the next question. Daniel says, I need a sip of tea here, Daniel. Everyone can read the question for a sec. Daniel Mariah says, does the pronunciation of it and eat, is it the same? No. So so it and eat are very different. So it has that really short I sound, and eat has that longer E sound. So there you go. Next question is from Areli. Hello. I would like to know the correct order of either and with in the following sentence. I will go either with you or her. I will go with either you or her. You can say both. Let me see. Which one would I say? I will go either with you or her. I will go with either you or her. I would say the second one, but informally, both are correct. Okay. I'm sure one of them is more correct, but definitely I would say it the second way. Let me clean up my questions here, folks. Let me get the questions cleaned up. Let's see. Putin has the next question. Hello, Bob. Can you help me? Can you tell me how to use such in a sentence in writing and speaking? So such is an interesting word because we use it in a lot of different ways. It is such a common word that you will see it a lot. So you're better off finding a video about the word such instead of having me explain it here, because it's such a difficult thing to do, and it would take such a long time that it would be difficult for me to do it just in a short answer here. So I don't want to, I'm trying to use the word such again. I don't want to take too much time answering one question, but you can rewind and hear a few example sentences that I just used. So that is good. Sean from Free 99 is back. Thanks, Sean. Did you run to the store? You had to run to the store and get something maybe. And a few people in chat saying nice things about me. Thank you, Nadia Chen. Thank you very much. And Tan Trong is saying hi. So hi to everyone in chat. I'm going to keep moving along with the questions here. Victor says, hello, Bob. Thanks for all your help. Keep going. I always see your videos from Panama. I always watch your videos from Panama. That's very, very cool. Thank you very much, Victor, for those kind words. It is nice for me to get positive feedback sometimes from people. So let's see here. Next question is from Ken. Hello, Mr. Bob. How are these meanings different? Free and less. For example, caffeine free and caffeine less, which is correct? So we would say caffeine free. When you say caffeine free, it means there's no caffeine in it. So you might drink caffeine free coffee. We would normally say decaf coffee in that situation. But that is how I would say it. But they do mean somewhat similar things. If you have something that's sugarless, it means there's no sugar in it. So I think it might be specific to the ingredient that's missing. Zara from... if you look in the description below, you will see my P.O. Box address. And people tend to like to send me Christmas cards. Last year I got a few postcards and Christmas cards. But yes, if you would like to send me a Christmas card, just scroll down below the video and you will see my address is P.O. Box 419, Canada, L0R2A0, I think. So, but scroll down to get the actual address. That would be cool, Zara, if you sent me a Christmas card. I would like that. Just cleaning up my questions here. Let's see here. Next question is from Lorena. Hi, Bob. I would like your opinion. Is it a good idea to write a letter in Spanish and after that translate it to English to improve my English skills and vocabulary? Thanks, Bob. So the very quick answer is no. Okay. The very quick answer is that if you can and you are learning English, you should write it in English. It is okay to write things in your own language and then translate them when you are very early on in the beginning stages of learning English. But generally, most language teachers will tell you that the more you can write directly into the target language, the more you can write in the language you are learning, the better it will be for you. Okay, so try to do that. Renata says, will you continue to do live streams when your channel reaches 1 million subscribers? I don't know, Renata. I really like doing live streams, but I will be honest. Right now, making 1 video a week and doing 2 live streams a week feels pretty busy for me. So I'm going to keep doing it. I promised myself that I would try to make 1 video a week and do 2 live streams a week until February. And then I'll think about what I'm going to do after that. But I'm definitely going to always keep making videos, and I'm definitely going to keep doing live streams. I'm just not sure how long I can keep up this pace, but I do really like it. So I'm not quitting anytime soon. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that means there will be a live lesson, there will be a video Tuesday, and there will be a live lesson next Friday, and there will be a live lesson next Saturday night. I don't plan to stop doing this too soon. Sebastian the Bob says, how do you pronounce depth and depths? So for English speakers, those are actually very difficult words as well. So when you say, what is the depth of the pool? That's pretty easy to say. What is the depth? You can see my tongue comes out a little bit, the depth of the pool. But when you say that you're going to the depths of the earth, that is hard to say for us. We tend to say it quickly, like he's going to go into a cave and climb down into the depths of the earth. So you see how I did it a little more quickly there. Let's see here. Yusef says, what is the meaning of commit? And what is the difference between method and approach? And thank you from Morocco. So when you commit to something, it means that you promise that you will do it. So I have committed to making a new YouTube video every Tuesday. I have committed to that. I think I've done a new video every Tuesday since last March. I've also committed to doing live streams on Fridays and Saturdays whenever I can. So that means I've promised myself and all of my viewers, that's what I'm doing. So I've committed to that. That's something that I've committed to. My method or my approach, those are the same things. My method is that I shoot footage for a new video early in the week. I edit it on Monday nights. I plan my lesson on Thursdays. I do a live stream on Friday. That's my approach or my method. So that's how I plan and do the work to get things done. So let me see here. Next question. Let's see here. Oh, I think I did that one already. Yes. So I'm just going to clean up my questions here. I'm actually doing really well on the questions now. I think having some earlier technical problems slowed down the amount of questions that people ask. So, hello, Bob. I'm Sean. Hi, Sean. What is the difference between Sean from Free 99 English? Probably a different Sean. So, hi, Bob. I'm Sean. What is the difference between I'll be trying and I'll try? Is there any subtle difference, especially when you use these phrases in real life? So if someone says to me that they're going, that like I'll try or I'll be trying, they mean the same thing, okay? When you say I'll be trying though, that could be something that happens over and over again. And if you say I'll try, it might mean like a one-time thing, like make my coffee really good. The person might say, I'll try. But if someone says, I'd like you to deliver coffee, or something, how would I answer? I'll be trying. I'd like you to work really hard to do well in class. That's kind of a repeated action. You might say, I'll be trying. So that would be two slight differences that I can think of between the two. Let's see here. Lone from Vietnam says, hi, Bob. I watch many of your videos to improve my English. Thank you so much. You are very welcome, Lone. What do you think about learning grammar before learning other skills for the English language? Thanks a lot. So grammar is a great thing to study, but it isn't the most important thing in my opinion. I think it's a good idea to study some English grammar. I think the more important thing when you are starting to learn a language is to read. I think that is highly important. I think once you get to a certain point, speaking the language is very, very important. And I think always listening to English whenever you possibly can is very, very important. And writing is a great way to get ready to speak a language. And then I think you should build vocabulary. In that, you can learn some vocabulary, some grammar to understand the structures of the language. But it's not overly important, in my opinion, to always study just grammar. Biak Kampong has the next question. I'm a bit confused how to pronounce cache. Please help. So on a computer, you have memory and a CPU, and the CPU has cache. So cache is pronounced the same way as cache, and it's just a little bit of memory on a computer that helps it work faster. Hopefully that wasn't too technical of an explanation. Motion says, let's see here. Hi Bob, could you please explain the difference between he'll blow his top and he'll blow up from Germany? So if you blow your top, it means you get really, really angry. And if you blow up, it means you get really, really angry. They have slightly different usages, maybe. I would tend to say, oh, when that guy loses a football game, he blows his top. That usually means, he's just going to get super angry. But you could also say he'll blow up or he blows up whenever his team loses their soccer or football game. So I think they're fairly equal in meaning. That would be my opinion on those two phrases. In fact, I'm going to write those two down because I think I'll use them for my other little YouTube channel that I have. So Saeed says, missed you, would you please explain how to use dough? So there's a couple ways to use dough. So when you make bread, you start by making dough. Okay, so you put flour and water and yeast in a bowl and you mix it up and you make bread dough. So you make dough. But you could also say at his job, he makes a lot of dough. That means that he makes a lot of money. It's an older way to talk about money, but we do sometimes call money dough. So yeah, he makes a lot of dough, or wow, he spent a lot of dough on that car. I think people my age sometimes use dough to refer to money. I don't think younger people do use that word that often anymore. Next question from Mingzun from Taiwan. Hello, Mingzun. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. What does make it about you mean? Does it mean selfishness? Yes. So sometimes people will make something about themselves. So you'll say, oh, I have a headache. And they'll say, oh, I have a headache. And you'll say, oh, I'm feeling sick. And they'll say, oh, I'm really feeling sick. So in that situation, the other person is always making it about them, or they're making it about themselves. So you could say, oh, you always make everything about you. I just want to talk sometimes. Hey, Carolyn Clara, thank you so much for the super chat. You are very, very generous. I will use that money, as I always say, to help pay for the internet connection here, which isn't working very well tonight. Earlier on, we had a little bit of trouble. But Carolyn Clara, thank you so very much for the super chat. You are awesome. Good shout out to you for that. Let's see here. So Eugene Liu says, sorry, Bob, I made a mistake. Add oil, add oil. I mean, what people shout at a sports stadium all the time. I don't think that's what they're yelling. I don't think they yell add oil. I'll have to think about that one. Maybe someone else, one of the other English speakers in the chat, can solve that little riddle. But I have not been to a sports game where they have yelled add oil, add oil. I'm going to research that a bit, though, Eugene, for sure. just to see. By the way, Eugene has what's considered a hard to pronounce first name in English. If you look in the chat, the last question is from someone whose name is Eugene. Now you know how to pronounce that name. Let's see here. Hamoud says, Bob, any chance that you're going to teach English overseas, or do you like to stay in Canada? From Hamoud in Saudi Arabia. I do plan to stay in Canada. I do really like being in Canada. I don't plan to move. I think if I was 30 years younger, I would probably think about it, but right now, no, I'm just going to stay here. Sean from Free 99 English says, the connection has been great for a while now. Thanks, Sean, for letting me know that. That's awesome. And again, people, don't forget that Sean from Free 99 English also teaches English on YouTube. Give him a visit. If you haven't watched any of his videos, you should jump over there sometime and have a look. But thanks, Sean, for that information. I think I have a question here that's a repeat. Let's see here. This is from Lucas. Lucas Friedrich says, hi, Bob. Hi, Lucas. I love your method of visual teaching. It's really the best technique I've ever seen. Could you explain the main differences between American and Canadian English? So mainly, I would say it is a slight pronunciation difference. We say a few words slightly differently. I say the word boat and out a little bit differently compared to my American cousins. But generally, Americans and Canadians have almost zero problems understanding each other. The languages are very, very similar. If I was to describe it, I would say that the Canadian accent is a lot more neutral. We don't have a very strong accent compared to some parts of America. So, but generally, we spell a few words differently. So they spell it color, and we spell it color with a U. So we borrow from our British cousins a little bit. But generally, Canadian English is a fairly neutral type of English to learn. In fact, I think it's a really good form of English to learn. I think it has universal appeal. Biak Kampong says, do you speak French? Oui, je parle français. Mais pendant les live streams, je parle seulement anglais. But during live streams, I only speak English. So sorry about that. Oh, he might be talking about the Hamilton Tiger Cats have a chant. Yeah, I'm going to have to research this one, Sean. That's a good question, though. He might be referring to some of those types of things. It might sound like ad oil, for sure. Let's see here. John has the next question. I believe it is not quite correct to address you as Mr. Bob, isn't it? So it depends, okay? Sometimes just it's polite and a little bit fun to refer to someone as Mr. and then their first name. So it's not very formal. It's definitely somewhat informal, John, but it wouldn't be uncommon for people to call me Mr. Bob as Mr. Bob the Canadian, the YouTube teacher. So it's quite normal, but it is very informal. There, that rhymed. Did you hear that? It's normal, but informal. Kim has the next question. Hello, Bob. What is the difference between moral and morale? Okay, so first of all, the pronunciation. So moral is the first pronunciation and morale is the second pronunciation. So, yeah, Sean says the Habs do it too. I'm going to have to do some research on sports chants or sports cheers. So the difference between moral. So there are things in the world that people believe are the moral thing to do, or it's morally right to do certain things. So it's good to help. It's good to give money to the poor. It's good to help people in need. It's good to stop when someone's car is broken and help them. So there are morals, or we can act in a moral way. So that's a good way. Morale is the general feeling of a group of people. So at work, this past week, all of the teachers, we had a day where it was a team building day. And we did it for staff morale. So that's the second, staff morale. And that means we did it so that all the staff would like each other more and like their job more. So we increased staff morale. So when morale is not good at a workplace. People don't work as hard, and they aren't as happy, and they're not as healthy. So let's see here. Next question. From Jamila Senjanhova. Hello, Bob, from the Czech Republic. Hello. I'd like to ask you about making, let's see here. We got someone spamming, so it's hard for me to read the question. I'd like to ask you about making a video about deal idioms and more, how and when we can use it. So idioms with the word deal in it, I could do a few of those. Yes, I could find a way to make a video about that. That would be quite helpful. Let me write that down after this live stream, and I will try to remember to do it. Moko today is my TOEIC test, English language test. Please give me your advice. Try to relax. Don't do anything differently. Hopefully you slept really well last night. Hopefully you are well rested. And generally, for all of you, my advice when you are taking an English language test is that most of the work that you do is in the months of preparation before the test. And just try and relax on the day you write the test so that everything that you have been practicing comes back to you so that you can remember everything that you need to remember. So, Moko, I hope your test goes really, really good today. Let's see here. Next question from Claude Mir. Claude Mir says, hello, Bob. Can we use the word heavy to refer to the winter and the snow? Yeah. So sometimes we get a really heavy snowfall. That would mean we get a lot of snow. So that would be probably the only way we use the word heavy in the winter. You could say we had a pretty heavy winter last year. That's not as common maybe, but definitely when talking about snowfall, you could say we had a really heavy snowfall yesterday. That means you got a lot of snow. Right now here though, we got a lot of snow and now it all melted. It's actually a little bit warm now. I think it's only, I'm actually going to check. I think outside right now, it's only about 3 or 4 degrees. Oh, it's 1 degree. So a little warmer than normal. Manny has the next question. Manny says, how can I pronounce the NG sound? So I think you mean in words like I wear a wedding ring. I am not a good singer. I just spelled that wrong. I am not a good singer. So I wear a wedding ring. You can see that sentence in the chat. I am not a good singer. You can see that sentence in the chat. Hopefully that is the NG that you are talking about. So 2 examples for you there. Let me clean up my questions here for a sec, everybody. Let's see. Ismail has the next question. I'm glad you found the form, Ismail. I saw that you were asking that in the chat. How can I say when the people are eating and what can I say when people are eating and I arrive at a place? That's a tricky one. Like if you are annoyed that they started eating without you, you might just want to say something kind like, hey guys, next time could you wait for me? Or hey, could you guys wait before you start eating? But generally for me, if I'm going to go somewhere to eat and when I get there, people are eating already, I just kind of walk in and I say hi and I sit down. It's no big deal. So I hope I understood your question, Ismail, and hopefully I understood it correctly. Alexandra says, hi Bob, I'm Alexandra from Brazil. Alexandra. Do you prefer winter or summer? Winter. And I love your cats. Oh, that's cool. It's too bad you won't see any right now because we are inside and our cats are very much used to living outside. Let me clean up my questions here. I have a few repeats. Let's see here. Rambo. I'm laughing at your name. Rambo is actually the name of a movie. How can I improve my fluency and avoid awkward silence when speaking? So first of all, how do you improve your fluency? You have to talk more. That is one of the best ways. If you're talking about the fluency of having a conversation with an English speaker, you just need to do more of it. So you might have to hire someone via Preply or via FaceTime. There's a link below to Preply if you want to use it. The second question, how do you avoid awkward silences, is I highly recommend that you always prepare for English conversations. You need to be ready to talk about your favorite things and ask about other people's favorite things. You need to be able to talk about what you did that day and ask people what they did that day. You need to be able to talk about the weather and ask people about the weather. You need to be ready to talk about the latest film you saw and ask people about the latest film they saw. You want to be able to ask if they're interested in any sports, what sport team they follow, if they saw the latest game, if they ever go to the game. So I would become really good at all of the things you can fill that awkward silence with. Because people love it if you can ask them questions about their life and they'll talk. They will talk. So become really good at, in a kind and gentle way, asking questions. Let's see here. That's what I would say. Next question. Grammar question here. I tend to skip those, guys. You know what? I skip them because sometimes I answer them and I don't quite explain it properly. Grammar is hard to explain without a big chart and all the rules listed behind you. Next question is from Renata. Spreek je Nederlands? Do you speak Dutch? I don't. I'm learning it. You look Dutch, sir. Yeah, I am 100% Canadian, but my parents came from the Netherlands. So there is no mystery as to why I might look a little bit Dutch. I have a Dutch face. I have Dutch looking hair. But yes, I am Canadian. I was born in Canada. But both my mom and my dad, when they were children, their families moved here from the Netherlands. They moved here from Holland. So that might be why I look a little bit Dutch. Let's see here. I'm going to skip a couple questions here. Sorry if I don't get to your question. Next question is from Alyssa. Hello, Bob. What's the difference between advise and advice? So when I advise someone, I give them advice. So advising is the conversation. When you advise someone, they have come and asked you a question and you are advising them. So that is the act of telling them wise things. But if you were to name what you're saying to them, you would call it advice. So that's the actual things I say. So the act of giving information is advise, and the actual information you give is the advice. I'll put that sentence in there. When I advise someone, I give them advice. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. I got to check something here. Sorry for the brief pause. I'll get to the next question now. It's from Louise. And Louise says, Luis Cerezo says, hello, nice work. I'm from Venezuela. Hello. The app Elsa works to improve the pronunciation. Thanks in advance. And I talk to myself and it can help me improve my speaking. I did not know of that app, but I will have a look at it sometime in the near future. Let's see here. I'm trying to just find a couple last questions before we head out. Because it has almost been 1 hour and I need to wrap this up soon. Angelina Deng says, hi, Bob. I want to study in Canada. Could you suggest to me which universities would be suitable for learning business management? And can you recommend some, excuse me, losing my voice right on the hour. Could you recommend some good universities there? Many of our students in our high school who are international students like to go to the University of Toronto. There are, though, many, many good universities in Canada. There are great universities in every province, and it really just depends on where you would like to live. Where Sean is from, on the east coast of Canada, there are excellent universities out that way. If you go to British Columbia, there are excellent universities. So I would say it doesn't really matter. Just find a Canadian university with a business program and I'm sure it will be a good one. Anyways, Bob the Canadian here. You are learning English with me. I am going to wrap this up. Please come back tomorrow and turn the subtitles on and watch this one more time. If you are new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button over there. Thumbs ups are always good for me as well. Thank you to the people who gave me live super chats today. That was awesome of you. I don't need money, but when you do give me money, it is kind of a nice way to thank me, and I use it to help pay for my internet connection here out on the farm. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up. There are a few questions I didn't get to. I am really sorry about that, but sometimes that happens. Anyways, Bob the Canadian here. Thank you for your questions. There will be a new video on Tuesday. There will be a live lesson next week, Friday, and there will be another live lesson like this next Saturday. Hopefully everything goes well. I hope you have a great day. Thanks to Todd for being here. Thanks to Sean from Free 99 English for being here. And thank you to every single person who came to learn a little bit of English. And I hope you have a great evening and a great day and a great weekend.